Hello and welcome. Today we're going to start our adventure with networking and specifically with Photon Fusion. So it's a new development. I'm very excited about it. What we're going to do is we're going to turn tutorial on kitbashing from a few weeks ago into a networked multiplayer game. So yeah, that's what's going on, and what you can see here is 3 instances of the same application basically talking to each other over the internet. And what this allows is an interaction of multiple users, basically drawing on the same canvas and being able to share and collectively develop some kind of 3-dimensional drawing. Okay, so without further ado, let's just start. Starting with an empty project, we are going to first import 2 packages. First one, and the links are available below in the description. We're going to import this tutorial of 3 assets and then also Photon Fusion package. After this is done, Fusion is going to expect us to provide Fusion app ID, and for that we need to go online and into our Photon dashboard, create a project and copy the app ID key. I would not advise to attempt to copy mine, of course, for obvious reasons. So what we want to do, we want to paste it here, and with this all the applications which are going to have the same number are going to be able to talk to each other over the internet. That's the trick. So that's it concerning Fusion. Now, if we successfully imported this whole Fusion package, we're going to have this additional Fusion tab here, and we're going to be able to very easily network our application. So in my scenes right there, I have the kitbashing scene, and it looks like this. So perhaps I want to change it to perhaps this. Okay, so first things first, we can just immediately create a Fusion setup, add networking to the scene. I mean, that's just as easy as possible. And what this does, it creates this prototype runner and prototype network start. We don't really have to care about those things at all. What matters for us at the moment is the moment we start application, we are going to see this menu showing up. So so yeah, we can just choose what kind of topology we're going to use for our application. It can be single player or equally shared clients, or something that is a server, a host, or a client. So, and then we can type in here the name of the room where our players are going to be connected. I'm deliberately using this generic solution so that we don't have to think too much about all the hard stuff, and rather focus on basic Fusion functionalities. So anyway, with that we can just do this, and then our application is running as it is supposed to be running. Nothing changes, right? So let's just start making it a networked application then. And for that, we are going to have to modify our script, which adds those objects to the scene. So it instantiates those objects. And for that, we are going to have to, first of all, say here that we're using Fusion. And then also that we are not in mono behavior anymore. We're actually doing network behavior. Okay, so that's that. And immediately, once we do this to the script, which is attached to an object on one of somewhere in our scene, we're going to see Fusion reporting that there is something wrong. So let's take a look here. So Fusion tells us that this network behavior requires a network object. It's perfect. Let's just add one. And the moment we save it, there is no problem anymore. So first of all, we have this network object component sitting on our script holder where the add things script is located. That's important. So what else? Well, here, instead of instantiate, what we want to do is we want to instantiate over the network. And that can be accomplished by a simple line of code like this. Runner, I'm going to explain what this means in just a second. No. Spawn. So there we go. So we want to spawn, and then, well, the question is what? So just the same, we want to spawn the fruit from the list. And then what we want to do is, what's here? Where it is, rotation. Okay, let's just provide just the same information as in the original Unity instantiate command. Okay, save this. And this should actually allow us to already instantiate those objects over the network. However, important thing is that we need to modify the objects to be instantiated. So in the fruit, there are prefabs. And let's take a look at those objects. Well, in order for them to be network objects or to be spawned by Fusion and interacted with over the network, well, of course, we need a network object component. Not only that, what we want to trace is position and rotation. So let's just add this, and then automatically it asks us to add the network object. Okay, so with this modification to our prefabs linked to the add things script, we are ready to go. I'm going to do this quickly for all the rest. Okay, and we're done. So now it's time to build this as an application and run 2 instances of them and see whether we are good. So build settings, and I just want a normal Windows application. Let's take a look at the player settings. I'm just going to make it windowed, maybe a little smaller so that I can fit it into the screen for the purpose of this tutorial. Okay, and then let's build and run. Maybe here and here. All right, so I have this window showing up here. I can start a shared client, and then I'm going to go back into Unity and start this instance here, and let's see if they are talking to each other. I'm going to start a shared client here as well. And now, if I'm successful, drawing here is going to also exactly add things here. And on the other hand, if I draw here, I should see something in the other window as well, which is the case. So that's great. First step is done. Okay, so that was easy. Now there's one problem, just like a little yet important thing to fix before we continue. So let's take a look here. We're starting a shared client, and if I start pressing here before we're connected to the network, Unity throws an error. And the reason for it is that the network component here are not active. So the best way to address it would be, for now, to simply create some kind of variable here. Let's say boolean is online, and say it's false in the beginning, and then just make sure that this spawning action is performed only if we are indeed online. Okay, and then we would like to have some kind of public function. No, public. Like so, which is going to turn is online. Oops. Is online into true, like that. Okay, so with this, what we want to do is we want to take a look at the prototype runner here, and take a look. It has all this callbacks here, and we can use one of them to trigger our function. So basically what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are indeed online. So how about unconnected to server? So I'm just gonna make this interact with my add things script and trigger the online toggle. So there we go, and with this we are safe. Good. Now, the next step is going to be about, well, identity. So we have multiple player situation, and yet all the objects look the same. So it would be really nice to be able to distinguish which player positioned which object where. And for that, we are going to change colors of those objects. So, so first of all, we're going to have players with a dedicated color. So each player is going to have a different color. And then somehow we have to figure out how to spawn those network objects with the color corresponding to the player's color. Okay, so starting with player's color, let's just do a very simple thing. We're going to have a public color here, let's say my color, and whoops, and we're going to say at start that my color is a new color, and let's just say random dot value 3 times for all the 3 channels. There we go. Okay, and now in order to see it, we are going to assign it to the main camera. So camera dot main dot background color is my color. Okay. Now, what we need to do is we need the newly spawned objects to somehow be able to ask for this color and assign it to themselves. And there is one way of doing this, which I would like to show to you. So for that, I'm going to add something here. So while we are spawning a given object at a certain point with a certain rotation, we can also add state authority. So basically, who owns this object in the network situation. So here I'm going to ask the runner, which is the general network solution of Photon Fusion, for the local player reference. There we go. And this should guarantee that newly spawned object has this association. So I'm going to show you where it shows up. Let's take a look. Okay, so we're running this instance here, and there we go. We're changing colors. That's great. We're starting a client. Nothing works. That's fantastic. We're waiting for the server connection. And yes, there it is. So now we're creating those instances. And if we take a look at one and go into runtime info, there we go. We have state authority as player 0, which is us. So in order to test it, probably it's better to have 2 players so that we can see how well it works. I'm going to do this in just a second. So for this, of course, I'm going to make it build and run. Okay, we have one instance, we have the other instance. I'm going to start shared client here. And I'm going to start a shared client here. Okay, now I'm going to create some strawberries here and some here. And now if you take a look at the object itself, this one belongs to player 0, this one belongs to player 1. So that's precisely what we need, because in this way we can make changes to particular objects based on who they belong to. Now, in order to do this, we are going to need a very tiny script, which is going to sit on all the spawned objects, so on all the prefabs. Let's say spawned object script. Let's just call it this way. I'm going to open it here. And again, we want to be using Fusion, and we want to use network behavior like this. We do not need neither start nor update. The only thing we need is a public override void spawned, which is called automatically the moment a given object shows up on the network. So that's first. And then what we want to do is we want to call so-called remote procedure call. So a function that is kind of a network call, and we can decide who is allowed to use this kind of commands, so who is able to call it, who is allowed to listen to it. So there we go. We're going to say that only the state authority, so RPC sources dot state authority, so basically whoever has state authority over the object that this script sits on. So that's going to be the source, and then who is able to listen to it? Well, everybody. So RPC targets all, like that. And now what we want is a public void RPC change color, like that. Okay. Okay, and we're going to do this in 2 steps. So first of all, this we can delete. First of all, what we want to do is we want to ask the add thing about my color variable. So so let's create a color variable here, color. Is so we want a game object, find object of a type add things, and then we want to ask that one about my color. Okay, so this is it, and then we want to call this function here and okay, and assign the color to it. So let's just do that. RPC, wait, come on, RPC, change color, and then we're gonna provide this color here, like that. Of course we need, okay, we need this. Okay, and now what we want from here is we just want to this get component mesh renderer. Where is it? Here. And then we want to find the material and the color and assign the provided color to it. Okay, that should be it. Maybe it would be good to say if has state authority, then call the function. Otherwise, we're going to run into difficulties, of course. Good. So let's see if we're successful with this. So I'm going to save this and make sure that this script is sitting on all my prefabs. So I'm just going to take a look at them and add component spawned object, like that. Grapes also spawned object. Like that. Okay, I'm gonna save this and build and run. Start a client here and another one here, and let's take a look at what's going on. Okay, so this one changes color definitely, and this one also changes color. Okay, that's great. So yeah, so our code works, the logic is correct. The last thing I want to do is, you know, it's not really nice to have all this color overrides. So basically, you know, red strawberry with a green color on top of it is just gonna look awful. So I'm just gonna make a quick update to all the fruit, and for that I'm just gonna look into their materials and simply get rid of the albedo texture, make them white, but maybe like metallic or something, just for fun. Banana the same, nothing but a little bit metallic. Okay, like this. Like that, and here the same. None. And like that. Okay. And so with this, we are going to simply be able to enjoy the whole color spectrum, and it's just going to look better, I believe. Okay, so let's wait until it loads. Okay, and there we go. They're orange. It's very nice. I'm going to build and run. Okay, starting here and starting here. And there we go. We can add objects of one color. We can add objects of other color. And if we change, we can also add different objects. And the color corresponds to the player. So yeah, that's it. That's our quick and dirty networking. Congratulations.